My hometown is one of the poorest counties in the country, but I never felt that it was poor because I had never seen it or experienced it until I was 11 years old. When I was young, specifically before the age of 11, my family was not poor. In fact, we were considered quite wealthy in the town. My parents would buy me various beautifully packaged chocolates. They would hire locally renowned teachers to teach me piano. They even spent hundreds of thousands to buy an entire building in the prime location of the small city for my convenience in attending school nearby. It can be said that at that time, I didn't understand what poverty was, nor did I know that one day I would experience days of poverty with nothing at all. In the year when I was in the second year of junior high, my family underwent earth-shattering changes. As the sole breadwinner of the family, my father's severe illness not only depleted all of our savings, but also pushed my family into financial hardship. And my mother, who was once beautiful but lacked capability, an ordinary woman who enjoyed playing cards every day, found herself at a loss and powerless in the face of tremendous family and financial upheaval. I remember from the second year of junior high until the second year of university, a total of 7 years, my family and I lived in extreme hardship. My mom started bargaining with vendors for a few cents when buying groceries. My brother began eating cheap snacks worth a few cents at the school gate. And I started wearing hand-me-down clothes from older cousins that didn't fit properly. At that time, I knew that besides living in the building in the prime location that people once envied, but now was just an ordinary building, my family had already lost everything and struggled to make ends meet. Every day, with meals of cabbage and tofu, my brother's tattered clothes and backpack, as well as the premature gray hair on my parents' heads, along with the exhaustion and hardship etched on our faces, all made me deeply feel that we didn't fit in with the people in the city. How bad did it get? Well, during my middle school entrance exams, I ended up being the only kid in my class to lose points in PE. Why? Because my mom couldn't afford to buy me the 60 yuan sports shoes needed for the test. Missing out on the high school I really wanted to go to was a tough blow. Then there's the fact that we couldn't even afford snacks or toys for my little brother, so we started sneaking things from his classmates. And to make ends meet, my grandparents had to find work outside the family home. Sadly, my grandfather ended up falling seriously ill and passed away. It's all down to poverty. If we had money, I might not have missed out on a better high school because of a few points. If we had money, my younger brother would have grown up confident and proud instead of resorting to sneaky behavior. And if we had money, my grandparents could have enjoyed their later years peacefully, instead of one falling seriously ill and passing away, and the other left alone and struggling in our rural hometown. Whose fault is it all? Maybe it's just fate. The powerlessness of poverty is something I couldn't even comprehend before I turned 12, but it became all too real in my life from then until I graduated from university. If poverty were merely about financial struggles, it might not be so daunting. But in reality, what really leaves lasting wounds is the disdain and disregard that come along with it. Even my parents, once generous and kind-hearted, always ready to help others in need, have experienced betrayal and mistrust. It's like the story of the farmer and the snake, but much more common in real life. Some of our relatives and friends, whether they've borrowed money from us or not, have shown a remarkable ability to kick us when we're down. Later on, I got into a university in Beijing, but my family was still struggling financially. Despite their limited means, my parents always did their best to support me, both materially and emotionally. Even when many relatives and friends advised them to have me stop studying and start working after high school to support the family financially, my parents insisted that I must continue my education. After finishing my undergraduate degree, as I geared up to prepare for the graduate school entrance exam at a different university, I decided to send some crucial certificates back home. Later, my dad mentioned to me that my mom was brought to tears when she saw the stack of certificates I had sent. She remarked that as long as her child was succeeding, every effort was worthwhile. I distinctly remember when I decided to apply to Tsinghua University during my junior year. My mom, in a bid to ensure I could focus on preparing for exams without the distraction of part-time work, took the decisive step of selling our family's house, our only asset. With the proceeds, my parents bought a small house in the city, earmarking the remainder for mine and my brother's education. Relatives began visiting again, taking turns trying to dissuade my parents. Your daughter will finish her undergraduate degree. It's time for her to work and repay you. Why bother with Tsinghua? What's so special about it anyway? It's beyond your means. Don't waste so much money on a girl. Save it for retirement or invest it. My parents just smiled and didn't say anything. Later, they confided in me, saying that their greatest investment was in my brother and me. They told me not to worry about what others said. As long as my brother and I were willing to put in the effort, they would stand by us no matter what. Later on, I didn't actually get into Tsinghua. My total score was higher by 20 or 30 points, but I fell short by a few points in one subject. And just like that, I missed the mark and became what everyone saw as a real loser. No job, no school. I didn't know how to explain the state of depression I was in during that time, or if anyone could even understand it. I started to wonder if I really was just destined to be a loser, with no chance of turning things around. Especially after hearing my mom in the phone complain I shouldn't have give up adjustment after. I'm more depressed. Even start nonstop ask myself is not from the beginning I shouldn't go to exam Tsinghua. If I willing listen undergraduate teachers' words go to exam Beijing Institute of Technology, Beihang University, then I will not in current situation. The overwhelming pressure left me gasping for air, causing me to speak incoherently and act haphazardly. Days felt like years, and I stumbled through tasks in a fog of confusion. But my parents started calling me every day to chat about trivial matters and sent me reassuring messages on WeChat, reminding me that I was their source of pride. This support was instrumental in helping me pull myself together and achieve success in the long run. My dad has always been the person who truly gets me. He's been my life mentor. And my mom has always been the one who cares about me the most. She's been my emotional advisor. But like many Chinese parents, they know very little about my profession and career plans and can't offer much useful advice in that area. After my setback in the graduate entrance exam, I decided to make a fresh start. Following stiff competition, I earned an internship at Lenovo's Beijing headquarters. I was the lone intern with solely an undergraduate degree and not currently enrolled in school. It was during this period that I found the career path I was passionate about pursuing for the long term. After my internship ended, I turned down a full-time offer from Lenovo Research Institute and opted for a startup instead. Why? Well, money was a big factor. The startup offered nearly double the salary, and I was in real need of cash at the time. But looking back, I see it was a rash decision. It taught me a valuable lesson about not just thinking about the present, but also planning for the future. So, I've made up my mind to pursue further education overseas. During this journey, my primary focus was on self-improvement, but saving money was also a big factor. I didn't enroll in any coaching programs or hire intermediaries. Instead, I opted for a DIY approach. From studying for the IELTS to crafting my portfolio, and from preparing application materials and essays to submitting them online, and even handling mailing and interviews, I tackled it all independently. During this time, many seniors cautioned me that applying to top universities on my own was almost impossible. I knew they weren't trying to intentionally crush my confidence, but seeing the balance in my bank account wasn't enough to cover tuition fees. I realized I had no other option. Even if I got accepted, I wouldn't have had the money to attend school if I still needed to pay for expensive preparatory courses. Perhaps fate took pity on me. While preparing for my graduate entrance exams, I endured hardships, exhaustion, and mockery. Or maybe, as my mentor suggested, I simply put in enough effort and had sufficient talent. This time around, success came relatively easily. Even during the second round of applications, I still received offers from several top design schools worldwide, including universities in the Nordic countries. The reason is straightforward. The school provides tuition waivers and scholarships, enabling me to be economically self-sufficient without needing financial assistance from my parents. For kids from low-income families, this is such a simple yet practical motivation. My boyfriend, whom I've been in love with for many years, is actually a graduate of Tsinghua University. Since I've struggled so hard but couldn't get into Tsinghua myself, why not have a highly accomplished Tsinghua graduate as the father of my future children? Truth be told, we've always been very much in love. It just happens that he's from Tsinghua. It's undeniable that even now, I feel both confident and insecure. This might seem contradictory, but the scars left by poverty aren't easily erased, no matter how much wealth or success you attain. Yet, it may require considerable time and effort to heal the wounds inflicted by poverty, to cleanse the marks it has left upon you. This journey could extend over several years, decades, or even a lifetime. Hence, poverty is truly frightening. It not only leads to financial hardship and struggle, but also deeply scars your pure and warm heart, unaccustomed to life's harsh realities. Poverty lays bare the reality of human connections, family, friendships, love, exposing both the good and the bad, the purity and the harshness. challenging your preconceptions about emotions and the idealized notions of relationships between individuals. I don't want to endure it myself, nor do I want my younger brother to go through it, or my future children, or anyone else plagued by poverty. However, the reality is that the majority are impoverished. As part of society's bottom rung, striving to change one's fate, to break free from entrenched social classes, is an immensely daunting task. Without external support, altering one's destiny becomes an unrealistic fantasy. The effort required is often many times greater than what others need to invest, and the rewards gained may be what they can attain with little to no effort. But poverty can also be a test. Through tough times, you find out who truly matters to you. It keeps you focused and motivated, always pushing forward. When you're poor, there's no easy way out. Even if people laugh at you, underestimate you, or treat you unfairly, it doesn't matter as long as you keep trying. Eventually, you'll find success through hard work. Poverty also teaches you to value and appreciate things more. You learn to treasure the accomplishments you've achieved through far greater effort than others. And you're grateful for those who stick with you through thick and thin, always showing kindness. As I've been coming to grips with the challenges of poverty and working hard to balance my beliefs, my brother has been on a different path. He used to skip school, get into fights, spend all his time online, and even run away from home. He was rebelling against his circumstances, almost ruining his own future. But then, one day, he stopped skipping classes and fighting. He started getting along better with teachers and classmates, although he still loves gaming and struggles in school. I've talked to my brother about this, and he said he doesn't feel the need to impress anyone. He just wants to live a happy life and love the people who matter to him. Maybe that's what makes him even more amazing than me. Despite the hardships of poverty, he can still face each day with a kind heart and make the most of every moment. That's all. What do you think? Imagine enjoying coffee or drinks on the other side of the world. Subscribe to this channel and leave a message if you'd like to learn more or contribute.